So I came back from vacation to probably one of the coolest updates in my opinion to Guild Wars 2 in quite some time, the Fractal Quickplay beta, aka the Fractal Incursion event, but it's not really the Incursion event I'm excited about, it's the actual Fractal Quickplays themselves. So I wanted to talk about this because I think that there's a lot of great possibilities for Guild Wars 2 on the horizon with this concept in mind, but there's also some not great things with some of the good things that are coming that I also wanted to talk about and shine a little bit of a light on. So let's get into it. First, let's start with the good, right? The Fractal Quickplay entire concept and the general way that it works is really awesome. I think the difficulty is pretty okay for newer players or for those really looking to just mindlessly enjoy some PvE content, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with. The fractals do become over pretty quickly, but overall, I think the system works. First of all, I haven't had any real hiccups with it, and it is very engaging. I have done fractals up to about 49, if I recall correctly. So it's got me more interested in fractals when I typically didn't really care that much about them, and I've found myself logging in to just do a couple just for fun. Obviously, I'm working on the event with that too, but it's fun. Like when I got a little bit of time to kill, I'm not sure what I want to do, I just go in there and do it, right? I think it's great for the overall community as well, because this is sort of a top of a PvE endgame content funnel that is possible here, right? So when you level up through Guild Wars 2, there's not a ton of a PvE content funnel compared to most MMORPGs, right? A lot of them are going to give you dungeons as you level up, which you can queue up for and really start to learn your class. The Guild Wars 2 dungeons are there, but honestly, most games, a strict LFG only system is a little archaic most of the time. The only other MMO I've played in recent memory that has only an LFG system is Lord of the Rings Online. And that LFG system works horribly and people just go to the chat instead. So I think bringing this in is a good way to start to introduce PvE in a very accessible way to players, right? Similar to how you can just press a button to play PvP, now you can just go press a button to play PvE. And I don't mean your auto attack key, although you should probably hit that one too. We haven't really had a high quality endgame content funnel, right? Especially because dungeons, even if you go do those, they're kind of old news, right? They haven't been touched in a long time, much to my chagrin, but we went on to fractals, right? I would love to see more things come to this. I think at least maybe a tier 2 system and getting some actual difficulty scaling in tier 1 so that it's not just rolling over the enemies every single time. I think that could start to provide a nice grasp of it, right? Especially because as you get into tier 2, you start dealing with some of the modifiers, you have to get agony, you start to understand more of those core mechanics aside from just we have to follow this path and kill these things, right? So I think that could be a really great place. If we're not going to go all the way to tier 4 queuing up for fractals, right? I think that would be a great place to cut it off, would be tier 2, so that people can get more of that experience in. So by the time they get to 3 and 4, they know about agony, they know about modifiers, they know about X, Y, and Z, right? Also strikes and maybe even some sort of raids. I also think that giving players more things to get out of an event, such as these bag slots and bags and even a legendary, is really good, right? People are very reward motivated. I mean, the traditional MMORPG gameplay loop wouldn't work if people didn't like to acquire things, right? Because all it is you get to the max level, you go acquire a bunch of gear until this expansion is over. Now you need to level up again. Now you need new gear. That farmer has gauntlets that are better than your tier 3 heroic raid gauntlets or whatever you may have that you spent 7 weeks and all of your DKP to get. So, you know, that's the loop, right? People wouldn't really play MMOs if they didn't like that goal to get something, right? I think bringing in legendaries like the gauntlets also gives newer players who may see this as too much of a pie in the sky a taste of it, right? Rather than seeing it as oh, it's just a tiny convenience upgrade over ascended gear. There's no need to get it. It's so much work. I don't think I want to do that, right? Giving that to them, and then they can really experience it and be like, you know what, I actually do really like this. Or you know what, maybe they're like, yeah, this was exactly what I thought it was. This feels like a waste of time to me because I'm a different person, right? We all have different opinions. So I think that is good to start to introduce some of these things to newer players. Those are the bulk of the good things. I'm trying to edit myself a bit here because I've tried doing this video a couple of times now and I just keep going off on insane tangents. Those are the core of some of the good things that I see. I think this is going to be great for the overall long-term health of Guild Wars 2, especially in a PvE nature, but just in general being able to get people excited about some of the rewards that they might be able to go for, like legendaries that keep people coming back since we have horizontal progression. Now, some not so great things. Let's talk about the Omni Potion. A lot of people are upset about the Omni Potion. I didn't have the original Omni Potion. I still don't have the original Omni Potion. I just got the new Omni Potion. I see both sides of this. On one hand, I completely understand how frustrating it is to work really hard for something and then have it taken away as like an accomplishment, right? And I think it's less painful, or not really painful, if you've had it for years, right? Because you can rest on the fact that, like, I have had this thing for years before any of these people who are now getting it could get it in this way, right? I had years of convenience. I have that accomplishment. I did that thing. I'm cool with it, right? Now imagine you just got it the week before this happened. Boy, wouldn't that really just piss in your Cheerios? Like that's gotta suck. That's gotta sting. I have sympathy for that, right? However, I think one thing about Guild Wars 2 that is unique is the fact that that feeling of working hard to get something and then it means nothing eventually is the cornerstone of most MMOs on the market. It is very much enjoy it while you have it, accomplish the thing, and feel good that you accomplished the thing. Because in 2 months, the next expansion's coming out and all of it's going to be meaningless. And the average person doesn't really care that you had the best in slot gear, right? That was for you to enjoy. That was something you wanted to do. And I think it feels really bad because Guild Wars 2 overall has not been set up for that sort of thing, right? We've had a few small instances where similar things have happened. The whole legendary relic thing was a bit rough for some people. I think that overall, it's an okay thing for things that we accomplish in video games that are live service games to not be as exclusive forever. We have seen instances of this getting easier in one way, shape, or form in a couple of places in Guild Wars, right? We've had, I would argue the Griffin got easier just because overall gold got generally easier to make as the years went on. I didn't play during Path of Fire specifically when it first came out. I came back to the game after that, but I remember back in 2012-13, like 300 gold was a decent bit of money, right? It wasn't something that you could go make in a few days, typically, unless you were flipping on the trading post. I had one friend flipping on the trading post. He ruined the game for himself because he just got bored because he would only do that. And I'm like, well, we kind of made a decision, didn't we? Anyway, the Sky Scale was another instance where we got removed time gates from things, and we got, or reduced time gates from things, and we got a second way to obtain it, right? The War Claw used to be exclusive if you went into World versus World. Now it's obtainable through Janthier Wild. So like, not that I think that's a big thing at all, but there was a collection for it. You know, we did have to go do specific things for it. So I think overall, while painful, this is a relatively natural part of most MMOs, and it just always feels bad at first. There's no denying that. So I definitely see both sides of that. I can see it not being a very good thing for a lot of people. I'm not saying it is a good thing, but I do see it as just a natural part of enjoying MMOs. Lord knows I've had that rug pull happen to me over the years many times. I think another really bad thing about these fractals right now is the weight that they seem to have been applied in the randomizer. I don't know how your experience has been, but I continue to get the same fractals over and over and over again. I've played the same fractal 4 times out of 10 queues in one night. It is absurd sometimes, and that doesn't make it feel good, right? Like, I don't mind doing them like day, right? Or even 2 times in 10. Like, I understand there's 25, randomization isn't perfectly random, right? It doesn't mean I'm going to get every single fractal when I queue for 25 fractals. But it doesn't feel good to go play Snowblind 4 times in one night, especially sometimes they're back to back, right? So I don't know if it's truly randomized or if there's some weird weighting system going on there or what, but it doesn't feel good. And I definitely think that needs to be adjusted in some way. I don't know how, I'm not a programmer, to just feel better, right? The other thing is, I think this has highlighted, at least for me, a massive pet peeve that I see with a problem with fractal design and dungeon design in general in MMORPGs in 2025. I've seen this when I came back to Final Fantasy XIV as well. The fractal starts and everybody's just running through all the trash mobs. In uncategorized, you're jumping past all the harpies as you do the jumping puzzles. You kill the boss, you go up the stairs, you kill the next boss, you do this, you jump up some more stuff, right? In Snowblind, after you beat the ice elemental, you just run all the way to the last boss. Now, I've done these fractals like the traditional way, clearing the things out. I've experienced that, and I don't necessarily mind the speed runs, right? It is what it is. I'm actually a relatively time-limited player overall, so I appreciate it being faster. But the problem I see is twofold. One, I don't know that that is a great experience for a new player. I know personally when I play a game for the first time, whether it's an MMORPG or just some other multiplayer game, if I get into a group content situation and it's like, basically, hold on, we're going to speed run this, it's like, I kind of want to at least experience it the normal way a little bit, right? I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea where I'm going. I'm going to have no idea how to do these mechanics if we just skip or speed run or glitch or exploit or whatever. Not that I've seen glitches or exploit in fractals. I'm talking at a bigger game scale, right? So I don't know that it's a good first player experience if somebody's just gotten to 80 and they're just getting speed ran through these things and feeling really overwhelmed. I don't know how that would land with a new player. I do have some concerns about that. The bigger thing that really gets me about this is if we are not going to highly encourage and make it difficult for you to not kill the enemies, or if we're going to make it so you have, or if we're not going to make it so you have to, such as a locked door or something like that, and you can just run past them, and it doesn't really take any special effort or anything, and it's not an exploit, you can just run and you're good, then what is the point of having them? Just remove them. Right? Like, why do we have things that are pointless? In Final Fantasy XIV, they had trash mobs in dungeons. Used to be a lot more traditional dungeon pulling. When I went back the last time a few years ago, the meta had shifted to like the power levels being so high, especially when max level characters were in leveling dungeons, right? That you would just spawn in, run as far as you could most of the time, pull all of the mobs that you could until you got to a locked door before a boss, AoE them down in about a minute or so, and then kill the boss, right? That's a crazy experience as a first-time player, right? I have no idea half the mechanics of these enemies because they were dying so fast, or there's 7 different unique enemy mechanics all stacked on top of each other. I couldn't tell what was doing what, and we just blew through it, right? And so they require you to defeat the enemies at least, even though it's still not my favorite experience. But when we can just run past them with no real consequence because we've power crept to a certain amount and they're too weak and X, Y, and Z, then what is the point of them existing in the game? Just take them out and streamline it at that point. Do I think they're going to do that? No. But I think it's a general problem with overall fractal and dungeon design at large. So just some things I wanted to talk about. Overall, I'm really excited for this. I hope this is the beginning of more modernization to the Guild Wars 2 content funnel here, where we can get a little bit more accessibility beyond the old school traditional LFG and chatting for groups, so that it is a little bit easier for people to feel like poking at this content and beginning to like it, and then having that pathway to enjoy it and get to a higher tier. Because when we get more and more players to enjoy higher levels of gameplay, then they have more that they enjoy in the game. They're more likely to stick around. They have more rewards that they can go do because they enjoy the content for it, right? And that's good for the game overall. A lot of modern MMO players are very used to the concept of being able to queue up for dungeons and just keep doing their own thing, go enjoy the dungeon, go back to doing their own thing, not having to either create or join and wait for people to join a party and advertise and make sure people have X, Y, and Z spec. It's never going to be perfect for Guild Wars 2, I don't think. We avoided the Holy Trinity, which is good in its own way, but has created the fact that nothing can really get put into a very specific box, and the boxes that we as a community have created, like QDPS, Alacrity, Boon Heal, like all that kind of stuff. I have seen comments that they don't necessarily want to create distinct roles, and without distinct roles, we can't go too high into the content list with this, because if you end up in a challenge mode level 100 Fractal with 3 Alac DPS, no quickness DPS, and everybody's a glass cannon, you're probably going to have a really, really bad time if all 5 of you aren't just insanely good players. Probably. So that's what I wanted to talk about here. Looking forward to the future, curious about what changes are going to be coming and what additions may be made to this. And we're going to be getting back into a more regular content upload schedule. Don't you worry, my fellow heroes. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Dale Sutton, the first member on the channel. I appreciate it. And for those of you who do not know, did not see the channel update video the other week, I will be starting in October. The videos that come out at 3 p.m. on Thursday will have 24-hour early access to them for members, so 3 p.m. Central Time. Anyway, let me get that clear. On Wednesdays. And there will also be some giveaways coming to the channel. I will not be creating independent videos for them. I will mention them in videos. There will be a monthly gem code giveaway. So look forward to that. That should all be starting in October here soon. So thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.